Awesome guys, Ifan back again with another video, and in this video what we will look at is how we can use Excel to analyze and solve real life problems. Okay, now the one problem that almost every country seems to be facing these days is the COVID-19, the coronavirus. So what we will do is we will look at how we can use Excel to track the progress against eradication of COVID-19, or what is the situation in each country. So that's the topic of today's video. Now, what I have done is, in the interest of time, I have gone ahead and created the file already. And because if I were to create this live, this video would end up being like an hour, at least an hour long video, an hour and a half long video. So in the interest of time, what I've done is I've gone ahead and created this file, but in this video, I'll show you how each part works and how it was created. And then I will also upload this file on the Watch, Learn, Grow, Repeat group on Facebook. So you can download the Excel file as it is, and then you can see how it works. You can dissect it, you can learn from it, and you can also keep updating it. Okay, now let's get started. The first thing I want to point out is I have sheets here for each day's data. Now this data that I have up here is coming from the WHO, the World Health Organization website. Okay, so let's just go ahead and open up the file of my browser and just go into the World Health Organization website. Now here they have a link called the situation updates. Okay, so if I will click on that, we have three links: the situation reports, situation dashboard, and disease outbreak news. Now the situation reports are, if I click that, now it shows me there's a report for each day. Now this is for July 25th, July 24th, 23rd, 22nd, 21st, and so on and so forth, all the way down to 1st of July. And then you have these, if you click on this, will show you all the reports for June. Okay, and then you have May, April, March, February, and January. So they started tracking it from January of 2020. So all the daily reports for each country are up there on their website. Okay, so what you need to do is, if I go back to my Excel file and I go to the 5th of July's data. Now this, where did I get this data from? Let me show you. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll first download this file. Okay, save link. I've already got it downloaded here. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll open up another browser window and I will go to this ilovepdf.com website. Okay, what this does is it allows me to convert a PDF file into Word. Okay, so I'll click on select PDF file and I'll go into 25th and I'll open up the file. Okay, it's done this thing. Now what we need to do is we need to click on convert to Word. Now it's actually converting it into Word and it's done. Now soon you'll have the file show up down here, and there you go. It's downloading. So it's done downloading. So basically what it's done is the PDF that we downloaded from the WHO website, now we have in form of a Word document. Okay, let me open up that and click on edit. Okay, so now we've got this in the form of a Word document. Now it will be easier for us to bring it into Excel. How do we do that? I'm just going to open up, go back to my Excel and do a Control N to open up a new file. And now I'll go back into my Word file and I keep scrolling down. Here you go. So now what we need to do is grab all the data from starting from South Africa, and then I scroll all the way down. That's the last of the data. Okay, so what I need to do is I'll click here, hold down my shift key and click. It highlights everything. Do a Control C copy, go to my new Excel file, Control V for victory, paste. Okay, so you have all the data in the Excel format now. Just click on merge and center and word wrap. And then what you do is you double click on the faint line between two columns. If you move your mouse there, it turns into like a plus sign. You double click, it will automatically resize the columns for you. Now, one thing you notice, numbers have spaces in them. For example, this is 421,996, but instead of a comma, they have a space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these columns and this column here, go to replace, and I'm going to replace space. See how I just type a space with nothing. I'm not going to type anything here, and click on replace all. It says it made 338 replacements, so that's done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these two rows. I click delete, come down, highlight these two, I click delete, right click delete. This heading in blue, I'm going to delete. So all I want is the country's name left with their data. Okay, so this black line and this heading, delete. I'm going to delete this and delete. Eastern Mediterranean, I'll delete that. And these two rows, delete. There might be a few places where you might have to do something a little different. I'll point it out when it comes, if it comes. Okay, so I delete that. And I highlight this and delete. And here you go. This is where we have to do a little something different. Now, Kosovo is on a line by itself, but its data is down here. So what we do is we just drag this name down here. So now it's in front of his data. And now this empty line that got created, we hold down the control key, click on it, and then click on 182 to highlight this row, and 183 to highlight this heading row, right click, delete. Okay, then we can delete this row, and then we delete the Western Pacific, and then we delete these two rows. This heading gets deleted. There's an empty line here. And once again, this Northern Marine Islands is on line by itself, but this data down here. So we grab this and bring it down here. This empties out this cell. So the whole line becomes, the whole row becomes empty. Highlight, delete. And then we highlight this and delete. And grand total we just pull down here for now. I'll show you why I'm doing that. Here I'm just going to do an auto sum. I have to see that it goes from B1 to B20, 216. Now the reason I did that is to make sure there are no spaces in between. Now if there was a space, it would have started from that line row down here. And so this would not be B1. Okay, so let me show you, for example, this is 27. If this was a blank, and if I were to do an auto sum, this would only go up to here. See, it says 211 and not all the way up to 1. Just go undo. Now, if I do an auto sum, it's going all the way up to B1. So that's a quick check to know that there's no blank spaces. Hit enter. Now, this subtotal needs to match this subtotal. And it does. That's another quick check. And so I just put a 0 here because it's showing up with a dash. Then I highlight everything, copy, and come into the 25th of July sheet, go to the first row and do a paste. Okay, so that's how all these days sheets are created, manually bringing in all the data. And up here, this is coming from down here where you have these subtotals. Take these subtotals and you paste them up here. Now, The reason I did that, do that is to make sure there's no mistake in the copying pasting. This is actually a sum from here, and this is a sum that came from the PDF file. So if the difference between these two is 0, so I know I copied correctly. So this is just a little bit of error detection built in. Okay. So once I've done that, for each day, I will copy and paste it into this combined file. So see how what I've done is have this has the same headings and is copy and paste. Now this is formatted as a table. Okay. Now I've done videos on previously how to make a table, and let's just quickly recap. See if this is the data that you have, and if you want to make this into a table, just click anywhere inside this, this collection of data, control on the hold down the control key and hit T for Texas, and it says where is the data for your table. Okay, so it shows you from A1 to G226. This does not have any headings. Just going to do a cancel, and then let me just put some headings here. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3 as headings, okay? Just to show you. Or better still, let me just grab the headings from here. Okay, so those are the headings. Now if I do a control T for Texas for table, make sure this says my table has headers. If you don't, it's going to think this first line is data also. It's not. Okay, click on OK, and there you go. It's converted into a table. And the advantage is Excel gives it a name. So if you ever want to apply a pivot table, you don't have to highlight anything. You just need to be on this table and just insert pivot table. It understands that it needs to get its data from this table. Okay, so that's how basically information was copied here into this daily sheet, and from the daily sheet into this combined sheet. And this combined sheet is is in the form of a table like we created here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and close this. I don't need this file anymore. Now, one thing that's different is most populated. Okay, now I have a list of 20 most populated countries. If I were to go, I have a sheet here for population. Okay, now if I were to sort this on population, okay, instead of country, population, largest to smallest. Okay, so you have, these are the 20 most populated countries. Okay, let me just undo, go back to the, okay, so now it's going to check for, because this table is going to have one entry per country per day. Okay, so total number of entries so far is 29,393. Okay, so the most what I've done is I took this list of 20 most populated countries and I put those in here. I just need to unhide this table. Okay, so these are the most populated. Okay, we actually don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to hide this. Okay, so what it does is it sees whether this name exists in that table or not. Okay, we can even we can just leave it the way it is. We can I can go to this population, and what I'll do is let me just show you another trick what we can do, and then I will sort it on population, largest to smallest, and click on OK. So now I have these are the most populated countries. Okay, and I'm just going to bring this back into sort by country and A to Z. Okay, so what we can do is if right now I'm looking at the sheet, let's make it even simpler. That let's do a VLOOKUP. In fact, I need to. I'll just do A2, comma, and then I go to my population sheet, and I look up here, comma 2, comma false. Oops, I need to only do E, one column. I need to grab the name, not the population. Okay, so if one of these countries are one of the 20 most populated, the name is going to show up. It's going to pull this name. If it's not, it's going to show not applicable, means an error. So I'm just going to wrap it into an if error. There you go. So only countries which are among the 20 most populated, that's going to show up here. Okay, so that's where all your data gets consolidated. And the way we do that is, like I said, we have one for each day. I highlight this, do a Control C for copy, come here, go to the bottom, I click tab, insert a new row, Control C, I copy it here, and that's it. That's about it. Okay. Now, let's look at how we do a new confirmed cases. Okay, basically what it is it's just a pivot with a filter, and we'll attach this filter to a slicer. Okay, so in the first column we have let's just have the field list job. We have in the filter we have the reporting country, and here we have the reporting date and the sum of the total new confirmed. Okay, and then what we do is we do a graph of this, and that comes here. We just did a bar graph. Okay, and then we added a trend line. The way we add a trend line to this graph, now this is just a simple bar graph. So if I were to go here, insert bar graph, that's how I would insert a bar graph. Okay, and then I can just go and add a trend line. Right now it's linear. We'll do a moving average, a 7-day moving average, meaning for the week. Okay, see, that's basically what it is, what this is. Okay, and then obviously we attach this to a slicer, and then when you change the country, this graph gets updated. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this here. So that's basically your graph that's showing up here. The vertical lines, the bars are each day. The total new cases, confirmed cases for that specific day, and this red line is your trend line. Okay, and then we have the slices for the day and for the country. And now, for those who want to learn how to do slices, just go and insert and then slicer, and then you can attach a slicer to a pre-existing pivot table. And the way you do that is if you were to insert a slicer here, okay, now it says no connection. Okay, That's because initially what you need to do is you need to have it connected to some table. So if I put it here and then do a slicer, then it shows me all the columns that I would normally have. Let me just do cancel here. And now if I do a insert slicer, now these options that I can check off here, these are these options here. Okay. So if I were to say reporting country, click OK. That's my reporting country slicer. Okay. If I click on Albania, it's going to change. See how the pivot, the filter is changing. Okay. I'm just going to go back and make this. United States of America. Okay. All right. Now this is the curve for the US. Okay. This is new cases. July 19th, the US did not report anything. It's not that there weren't any cases, just that the US did not report the number of cases to the WHO, to the World Health Organization. Okay. There you have the reporting dates, so you can filter the reporting dates also. So that's how you do a new cases graph. The new death graph is done exactly in the same way. Let's go here. Again, we have the pivot table, and this time we have the reporting country up here. We have the reporting date in this column, and then we have the total new deaths in this column. Okay, and then we have filter on the reporting date, and this pivot is also connected to the same slicer. So when I change the country in this slicer, it will change in that graph also. For example, if I click on United Republic of Tanzania, see how the graph changed? If I go to the new death graph, that's also going to change because this pivot is attached to the same slicer. Okay, this slicer is basically the same slicer. Okay, so let's go back to United States, and that gives you the death count, the daily death count. Okay, now remember we talked about the 20 most populated countries. Okay, so we are going to actually do a little bit of analysis. We're going to analyze the number of cases that they have, the percentage of their population that got affected with COVID, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's this table here. Now these are the 20 most populated countries in alphabetical order. Okay, now this shows you the countries confirmed cases. Now as of when? As of the 18th of July. Where are we getting the 18th of July? That is max of combined sheet minus 7. That's this guy here. This column, the column H has the dates. So the max of this column would be the last date that you have entered, minus 7, so like you're going back a week. Okay, that's what it does. So then what it does is it does a sum if. Now why sum if? Because we want to add all the confirmed cases for this. If you see the conditions, what is the condition? Add up B, column B in combined. Column B is the total confirmed cases. Okay, so that only column A is equal to B2. B2 has Bangladesh, and column A has the countries. So add up this column H, confirmed cases, column B for all Bangladesh. Okay, but that's not it. Plus the date in the H column needs to be this date here, R4. So that way, what it does is it grabs Bangladesh's total confirmed cases as of the last date -7. So a week before the last date and last entry in this combined sheet. And it does the same for all of them. And then it just does a VLOOKUP to grab the population of that particular country from the population sheet that we had here. And then it says percentage of cases of population. So all it does is number of cases divided by population. So you see 0.12% of the population got infected with COVID. Okay. And then what we do is we do the same for all the countries. And then we rank them. We use a rank function. And we have done a video on the rank function also. So what it does is it says that what this function does, take this number and then analyze it from this 20 numbers and tell me what the ranking is. 1 being the highest, 20 being the lowest. Okay, so it gives it to the rank. So Vietnam has the lowest number of cases, therefore has the lowest rank, has the highest rank at 20. Highest rank is a little different because number 1, we wanted the worst hit country to be on the top. So we are going to have the rank number 1 as the best and rank number 20 as the worst. Oh, sorry, rank number 1 as the worst country because it was hardest hit. Rank number 20 is the best country because it was least hit. Okay, and this was people that got infected with COVID, were detected with COVID, the confirmed cases. And what this does is it does the confirmed cases, it does the country's deaths, and then population, and then it does what the percentage of people, what percentage of people died from the infected. Okay, and it does a ranking again. Now, what this does is it takes it the global average and then sees whether this is below that or higher than that or what. Okay, now this is showing you the number of infected cases. Now for Bangladesh it's 0.12. The global average is 0.17. So Bangladesh infection rate is lower than the global average. Now we go to Brazil, is 0.94 and the average is 0.17. So this is higher than the global average. So that's what this column does, and it does the same for all of them. Okay. Now this was done. The last date, the last date is in this case currently is the 25th of July. So this was, it went back a week by subtracting 7. Now this is the same graph, but it does not subtract 7. So it makes this is the data for the last date. This being the last date a week before the last date, and this is the last date. And then what we do is we bring it into this table here. Okay, you just format it in a nice little way. So we put last week's data here and this week's data here. Now we have made this sheet dynamic. Okay, what we did was we put the serial numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up to 20, and then what it does is it uses the index match function. And if I go back, now this is from last week. Okay, so this would be raw data -7. So what it does is it says, oops, sorry, number 1. Okay, this is now it's going to look for the number 1 rank in this column here. Number 1 rank is United States. So then it's going to use the index match and grab the name. Okay, that's what it's doing here. Then grabs the confirmed cases, percentages. This is just a calculation. Okay, and says whether it's higher or lower than the global average. So, and then what it does is the worst country is highlighted in red background and white letters. China is highlighted, always highlighted in blue because that's where the virus was first detected. And because I'm sitting in Pakistan right now, I just highlighted in green. And this may move up or down. Now, this is today. Well, not today, but the last data that I entered. So this is July 25th. Again, this is going to grab from this data here. It's just going to bring in here using the index match functions, exactly the same as this, but it has an extra column here. What this does is it's going to compare whether the ranking of this country, which is number one here, was it number one in this column last week? Yes. So the ranking is the same. Okay, all the way down. So, for example, Mexico, that has become worse. Okay, so this week it is at number 5, so it's moving up. Is the higher it goes up, the worse it gets. Last week Mexico was number 6, so it got worse. Turkey is better. Turkey is number 6 this week. Last week it was Turkey was number 5, so it moved down. So basically, meaning the rate of infection is decreasing as compared to the other 19 countries in the 20 most populated. Okay, this doesn't mean that the infection is going down. It means you are doing as you move down. It just means you are less worse off than the other 19 of the 20 most populated countries. Okay, so Vietnam was the best country last week and was the best country this week. United States was the worst country last week. United States was the worst country this week. China was number 18, so that it didn't change. Pakistan was 9 both weeks. That's fine. Mexico got worse. Turkey improved. Egypt improved, and the Democratic Republic of Congo improved. Okay. For example, Congo is 17 now. Earlier it was 16, so it moved down. So the further down it is, the better it is. Okay. So that is the people detected with COVID. Okay. Now we come to this percentage here. That is people that died from COVID among the same 20 countries. Okay. So that's coming from this chart here. Okay. Now what we're doing is we're looking at the deaths last week and then what percentage of the world death it is. So last week United States recorded, oops, sorry, 137,674 deaths. Okay, now that represents 23.2% of the world deaths. Now the world deaths are down here. Okay, oh, sorry, last week. So 593,000 total deaths in the world, out of which 137 were in the US. So that represents 23%. The population of United States is 331,000. Population, the US represents 4.28% of the population. And then percentage of death of the population, 0.04% of the people died from COVID last week in the US, and about the same, but it got even worse. Okay, this week. Now this ranking is, like I had explained up here, is compared to the global average, and no country changed its position. Nothing got worse, nothing got better. They all stayed where they are. United States was the worst hit country. China was at number 16, Pakistan at number 9. So all the countries remained, had the same ranking. Nothing changed. Now this is the mortality rate. What this is, this tells us how many people who contracted the COVID-19, out of those, how many people died. The worst hit country was last week was Mexico. and this week was Mexico. Okay. Now Brazil last week was at number 9. It moved 2 slots up to number 7. So that it became worse. Okay. United States was number 8. It's still holding at number 8. Okay. Now this is sorted as by percentage. So this is the mortality rate. This is not the total number of deaths, because if you see total number of deaths in the United States is a lot more, okay, as compared to Mexico. But the percentage of the people who were infected with COVID and the people who died from COVID, that's the percentage that we're doing. So out of the 4 million people that contracted COVID-19, 143,000 died. So that's a 3.58%. Okay. Brazil got worse. Last week it was at 3.81124%, and this year it moved up in relation to the other countries. The percentage may have dropped. If you see, it was 3.8%, it's 3.6%. But the things are looking better for Brazil in terms of people dying from COVID, people who contract COVID-19 and then die. But in relationship to the other 19 countries, the 20 most populated countries, it is going down. It's getting worse. Or maybe it's not getting worse, but other countries may be improving, and that's why it has moved up. So the United States is still holding the same spot. Japan got better, Turkey got worse, Philippines and India improved, Pakistan remained at 15, and Ethiopia also improved. It moved to 18, and before that it was number 17. So it got better 1 spot. So basically we had 1, 2, 3, 4 betters, and 1, 2, 3 worse, and 13 remain the same. Okay, and here we have the world statistics. This was for last week. This is for this week. Okay. Then we have cases per million. So what we did was we took the number of the names of the countries from the population sheet, and then we said, okay, bring in the number of cases as of July 18th. We know what the population is. Okay, we do a VLOOKUP for the name. We grab the population. We divide this by the population and then multiply by a million, because we want it per million. So in Afghanistan, 907 out of every million are infected with COVID. Okay, this was as of this is their rank. Okay, this was a week ago, and this was this last day, and that's what the ranking is. So Afghanistan was ranked number 106 last week, and it's now ranked 108. So it is improving. Okay, so the higher the number, the better it is. And then we do the same analysis for deaths. That's death last week, death latest, and then you do you just format it in a nice way, and you just say what the increments are, what the ranking is, whether it improved or when got worse, and same for the deaths, and improvements were better. And then this is the sheet that has the population of the this has, let's see how many countries does it have, 215 countries, and out of those 215 we just took the 20 most populated. So that's how you can use Excel to analyze real life problems, real life situations. So if you have, see, this is the new cases. Okay, so you can see the curve was going up, then sort of flattened and just went down just slightly, then it started going up very sharply, Uh, this decline is only because of not reporting anything here, and then this is still down here because it because this steep slope downwards because of zero reporting. Okay, this is for the new cases, and this is the new deaths. And if you see, it went up and then started coming down, and it's pretty much straight. Now let's look at New Zealand, because New Zealand was being praised that they did a very good job. So let's see how New Zealand graph looks like. This is what the New Zealand graph looks like. Zero deaths, only had one death here, and new cases. See how well this went sharply up, and then the government uh, controlled it very well and came down very sharply. Let me grab Pakistan. This was the Pakistan graph looks like. It was going up, they started flattening, and then it went up and it sort of peaked here and then started coming down. These are the new cases, and this is the new deaths. It sort of went up, flattened, then it peaked up here, and then it started coming down. Okay. Now, one thing you notice how the heading changes. That's because if you click on it and then you type a formula here, so this is the total new deaths pivot, and it's coming from here. Okay, so what I did was, this is total new deaths pivot D1. Okay, so what is D1? That's this guy here. So I put the text within double quotes, total new deaths, and then a bracket, open bracket, and close quotes, and then I grab this name from here, and then ampersand, open quotes, close bracket, and close quotes. So it's puts the name of the country in brackets, and that automatically shows up here. So when I change the country, the graph changes and the name changes. Okay. So that's how you can have dynamic heading also. All right. So that's it for this video. Like I said, this is an example of how you can use Excel to analyze and try and solve, or try and mitigate, or just to get a handle on a real life situation. We have used actual live data from the World Health Organization website, and so this is how you can look at how your country is doing, or your locality is doing. If you put in your localities data, you can analyze your locality, your town, or your province, state, and you can analyze, do different analysis. That's it for this video. If you like this video, please kindly give it a thumbs up. And like I said, I will be putting this Excel sheet on the Watch, Learn, Grow, Repeat page on Facebook, so you can download this Excel file as it is. From there, what I do is every day I go to the World Health Organization website, I download the new situation report for that day, and I paste it here, and I make another sheet for that day, and then I copy all this data and add it to the bottom of this. It just expands this table further down, and then it updates all the pivots, and all the graphs get updated. Okay, so every day you yourself can download new data from the WHO website and bring it here and see how the graphs change, because this would actually be giving you a real life situation. It won't be live data because it's not live. The data you have is not live, but it's daily. It gives you a daily status. Okay. Like I said, this is it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Thank you.